रोशनी का कारवां.
This podcast is brought to you by Score Foundation.
ये है रोशनी, रोशनी, रोशनी का कारवां. रोशनी. Eyeway, ये है रोशनी का कारवां.
Hi, my name is George Abraham and welcome to Eyeway Conversations. My guest today is Masoom Reza, who is a budding lawyer and an academician. Welcome, Masoom.
Thank you so much, sir, and thanks a lot for inviting me on this platform.
Masoom, you are a budding lawyer, you are teaching law at Jamia Millia, and you also are a poet. So let's begin with law. Why did you choose to do law?
Basically, sir, I have done my schooling in Delhi, and that was a special school for blind students. So there we were not given the option to take science or math. So most of my seniors took either BA history or political science. So at the outset, I was also in the opinion to continue with that path. But I did my 12th around 2017. So as we all know, at that point of time, there was huge mobilization and there was huge demand for another law related to rights of person with disability. That is basically 2016 Act, which replaced the previous 1995 Act. So in that whole scenario, I somehow tried to take law not with full mindfulness, but it was somewhere in my mind to continue and take this path because it has a lot of things to offer and engage with the idea of using law as an instrument to make some change.
You studied the integrated 5-year law program, right?
Yes.
So how difficult was it for you to get your admission? And secondly, how did you manage the studies? Because there's a lot of reading involved in law.
Yes. So as far as admission is concerned, so in admissions, the major hurdle a visually disabled face is scribe. So at that time, there were many issues related to providing scribe because different institutions follow their different guidelines and it creates lots of chaos. So Jamia has at that time separate ordinance related to scribe and they themselves provide a scribe, and even the scenario is that they don't have any mechanism. They just ask random people who are wandering there to write the paper of any candidate. It was not very good practice, so that may be a problem, and I also faced because I went for the exam and they gave me a scribe who was some student there, but it was very difficult to read some of the questions considering the scenario that in law paper there are lots of Latin terms, Latin maxims, and big words to read. And in exam, we have to read very fluently and very efficiently, including all the options so that we can mark. So this was the scenario and challenge related to scribe, but overall they were in other sense cooperative, so it was done. And with regard to study material and spending their 5 years, so it was very interesting, amazing and superb experience. We went, and as far as I know, I was the first person there to I was the first visually impaired person who have done graduation from there in law, and there was no as such provision specific related to visually disabled, but yeah, teachers were and professors were much aware, and they tried to help me in lots of sense. Only the same problem I faced in the examination, the same scribe issue. So in first and second trimester, I fought a lot, means from like my faculty to vice chancellors. It was too long battle, and eventually I switched to computer. Instead of taking scribe, I started writing on my computer, and they allowed this after lots of discussions and debate. So, and in all other respects, professors were very amazing. They were ready to help in most of the aspects, and provide me reasonable accommodation as much as possible.
If you know of anyone with vision impairment who needs guidance on living life with blindness, please share the Eyeway National Toll-Free Helpline number 1800-5320-469. The number is 1800-5320-469.
You started working as a lawyer in the intellectual property rights space. Can you tell us a little bit about this intellectual property rights? And do you think it's a good space for blind lawyers to work in?
When I went to NLSIU Bangalore for my post graduation, there I was primarily introduced in this domain. Though I have studied about intellectual property law in my graduation, but there was a professor named Arul Kaya. He introduced me to this domain, and then I interned in Bangalore in a intellectual property law firm. So I feel that this is the most accessible domain for a person with blindness to work in the field of law, because there are many aspects which are happening online in this field. If in a simple sense, if I say about intellectual property, so it relates with the copyright infringement. Then there is logo / trademark, so that is related to infringement and registration, and so on and so forth. So trademark registrations, and there is a portal online, then trademark hearing. These things are very much online. So navigation and physical accessibility problem gets reduced. Yeah, there are certain issues always, but to the extent I feel that intellectual property law domain is way more accessible than any other law domain, and it is uh, doable in a sense that we can we can restrict the physical mobility out there and perform most of the tasks, and it is really interesting.
Did you professionally also work on IPR while you were in Bangalore?
Yes, professional lessons. After completing my graduation, I joined a law firm, and there I was intellectual property associate. So I worked there as a professional.
So you are now a guest lecturer at Jamia. So why did you make that switch?
Primarily, I wanted to explore the academic domain as well, because I'm in the mind frame that I can explore within few years what I have to do for the rest of the life. So I thought that it is a very amazing opportunity which I got very soon. So this made me to make this switch.
So what aspects of law do you teach at Jamia?
Right now, I have been allotted labor law and family, gender, and patriarchy.
You're also a Javed Abidi Fellow. So can you tell us a little bit about what this fellowship is about and what work under this fellowship you are doing?
Yes. So this fellowship is offered by NCPDP, National Center for Promotion of Employment of Person of Disabled Person, NCPDP. So basically, this is a very renowned organization, and it works for the accessibility and inclusion of person with disabilities. And for last couple of years, it is started providing this fellowship in which there are certain individuals who take certain objectives and certain areas to work upon to make those fields accessible and inclusive for everyone. So in this fellowship, I took digital accessibility in general and making e-database or e-resources accessible for person with disability. So primarily I'm focusing, there are certain database which we use to perform our uh, task, mainly to conduct research or to write academic paper and do other sorts of research. Most of us might have heard about JSTOR, then Economic and Political Weekly, and in law there are databases such as Manupatra, SSC Online. So if a law person who uses SSC Online, but on the other hand, a person with visual disability cannot use SSC Online given the inaccessibility present in its interface. So I am working on this area to make these platforms primarily these related to different kind of storing data platforms accessible for person with disability.
Between your teaching job and the fellowship that you're doing,
Yeah.
how do you find time?
The time, as we say that we know how much busy we are. So it's all about managing and balancing the things, and it is much doable if we try to adjust the things and make as much as reasonable switches at the right moment, so that eventually creates time for everything.
So, Masoom, where are you from, and which part of India are you from, and from what age have you had this eye problem?
I hail from West Champaran, Bihar. There is a small village, Kolua. So I spent most of my time there. And after that, few years I spent in Betia, which is also in West Champaran only. There I studied till third standard. And when I was in third standard, so I was diagnosed with Stephen Johnson syndrome, and it is a very rare and serious disease in which all skin die and shed. So in that, mm, it was it occurred due to medicine reaction, and when I was around 8 years old, so I turned completely blind.
What do your parents do, and how did they respond to your blindness?
My father is a farmer, and he had a shop as well at that time. And my mother is a homemaker. So basically, at that time, they were very panicked as it happens. So the primary focus was to uh, get treatment as soon as possible, because it took around 5 to 6 months just to heal all skin. And after that, gradually I was losing my eyesight. So around 5 6 months, it was from 100 to 0. And then uh, what they were primarily looking for, to see some hospitals, look for different hospitals to get treatment for the eye. So initial 2 years just being invested to look for different kind of hospitals from AIMS to LV Prasad, then different, then Shankar Nitralaya. Finally, they went and they told that when I will be around 18 years old, then they will operate. So maybe there would be some possibility for some vision. So at that point, they stopped. And now next question was what to do next. So uh, we waited for some time because there was no clue as such that what they can do with a blind child. So basically, for this disease, many of the doctors were not ready to provide any sort of medicine because I had medicine reaction of 11, total 11 medicines. So for the very small things, I had to come to Delhi for treatment for fever or for any other things. So in Delhi only there is a cousin of mine who had a friend who was working in BRA, and from there my family got to know that yes, they can study, and there is some provision and kind of mechanism to study further. So through that I went to the school.
To support our work with the blind and visually impaired, you can visit the donate page on our website www.scorefoundation.org.in. Please note www.scorefoundation.org.in.
As an 8-year-old boy, when all this was going on, your skin was affected, your eyesight was affected. So, what was going through your mind at that time, at that point of time?
It was very mixed kind of thing, and emotions were very. I can't put in words, but I can give certain incidents. Like I was very much interested in playing cricket and playing with my cousins. So at that time when I turned blind, I was very much depressed when I was seeing my cousins playing, and I was just sitting, and I know they were telling me that Masoom, you can join me, or we are telling you that yeah, now X is playing and Y is bowling, and they were trying to include me, but still in somewhere in my mind I was very much uh we can say depressed or dejected, or maybe we can say that I was figuring out what is next, because at that very small child there was no clue and no way out to think much as well. I have also not seen any person till that age who is blind and doing certain things in my place. So I have no person to look up. So those things created lots of chaos. So what I did, I again started reliving my childhood. So I told most of my friends that I lived my childhood twice. So uh, first when I born, and then around 6 7 years. Then after that, when I turned blind.
So, Masoom, I also believe that you write poetry. So, what got you interested in poetry, and when did you start writing poetry?
I started around when I was in 10th standard, and it was just happened l- luck by chance. I was just trying to do some word play, and from there only I started. And it was, I mean, I have not thought of in that way, but what made me start to write, because prior to that I was writing few lines in Hindi, and I was presenting here and there, but not very much. But from 10th standard, I started writing frequently, and yeah, got published from different places as well.
Would you like to share some poetry that you've written? Would you like to read out or recite?
Uh, yes, sir. If you allow me, then I will definitely.
Please.
So, I am an open book, ready to be read. Those who turn pages find they all are empty. Even if, when disentangled events unfold, incomplete stories, unsung labradors, and unwoven dreams pop out. Seems I'm like a flying saucer. When alone, the sky is my limit. And certainly, few friends are my wings, those who hold me but never attempt to hold me back. I'm very vocal, but many a time equivocal. Label me a blabbermouth or good time pass. Lovely, love me, love you, or love me not. I care. I don't care at all. Like a volcano, the world is boiling. Don't know how uncontrolled all get destroyed. In that breakdown, you break up. But now I have also learned the treachery of life. In the whole ocean, when I saw a single amphibian, it appeared that is really self-absorbed. But sometime I gulp, sometime I give. Certainly not a leech. I am a love bee, full of flaws, full of pessimism, wandering here and there in search of such light. Only slip up, don't want to be in chain. Let it be, again won't bear that pain. Dissect what I can, what I cannot, envious, moody, egoist, and what not. For someone, I am dangerous. For the few, treacherous. Dare open the open book, the blank pages will appear mysterious. Listen.
Well, that's beautiful. Thank you very much for sharing this poem with us. How often do you write, Masoom?
Around 10, 12 poems in a year, not very frequently, but yeah.
And have you published any of them?
Yes, sir, quite of them.
Where do you publish them?
There are certain journals in which I got published. There are certain college magazines in which I got published, and there are certain websites. So these platforms are there.
Good. So, Masoom, wish you the very best. Thank you for taking time to speak to us. Wish you the very best in your professional life. And as you continue teaching, may your aspirations be fulfilled. And God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this kind of opportunity.
Eyeway, ये है रोशनी का कारवां.
This podcast was brought to you by Score Foundation.
ये है रोशनी, रोशनी, रोशनी का कारवां. रोशनी. Eyeway, ये है रोशनी का